everybody, Steve Stine here from Guitar Zoom, and I wanted to help you out with a little bit of an issue that I see a lot with students when I talk to them about their playing, and it's learning other people's songs or solos, okay? I run into basically two different kinds of people. There are those people that really don't learn other people's songs or other people's solos, and I think it's actually very, very important to do that just because you've got a wealth of information sitting out there from, songs and artists that you really enjoy. And the second kind of people that I tend to meet are people that learn a lot of songs or a lot of solos, but they don't really know how to use the information that they learn in their own playing. So what I want to do is I want to give you three different kind of critical reasons why it's important to learn other people's, guitar solos and things like that. Needless to say, the first one is fun and confidence. Right? It's fun to learn songs, especially like when I was a kid and I was learning how to play, whatever it might have been, a Kansas song or an Aussie tune or whatever it was, and I could play along with it, even if it wasn't perfect. If I could play along with it, I felt good. It was fun. So there's something therapeutic about playing along with music. So that's the first one, and by far the most important reason, okay? But the second one digs in a little bit deeper. It's what we'll call ability promotion. And basically what you're doing is you're going to use this situation to better something about yourself, right? It might be a technique, whether it's speed picking or whether it's bending or vibrato or something like that. And the second one is going to be a visual aspect, something that you're memorizing on your fretboard, right? Something that you can look down and you can see that you haven't seen before. And I'm going to use this as my example. I'm using the first little lick from the solo of Hotel California, right? So this is what I'm doing. Okay, now we'll get a little bit further into that, but let's just look at the very beginning of this, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm sliding into the 11 on the third string. Now we're just going to talk about the lick, and then we'll break it down a little bit. So I'm going into this 11, and then I'm going to go to 10, and then 12, both on the second string. So I'm going... Now here's the cool part. If you've never done this before, I'm going to bend that 12 up 3 frets, a step and a half bend. So I'm actually bending it up to the 15. Now, if you've never done that before, those step and a half bends sound really cool, okay? This could be a technical promotion for you, an ability promotion for you, okay? Is trying to be able to do that bend. Now, when we come off the next lick, we're going to go... And we're actually going to go to the 8, okay? We're going to keep going with this little lick here. So we're going to go 7, 9 on the third string, and then 7 on the second string. So it's kind of pentatonic looking there. Then back to the 7, and then we're going to go to the 8. Right there, okay? Now, let's just take those two kind of ideas and break those down. So I have... And then come off that. There I went 10, 12, 7, or excuse me, 10, 12, 9, sorry. That's kind of my connector in the middle, and then I've got this lick. Okay, and then I'm going to end with this final little movement, which is, now it's 9, 12, 9, and then I'm going to go back to 7 and bend it up a half step. Okay? So if you think about it, there's really like 4 pieces. There's the 2 main licks, and then there's these little connectors in between. So the first main lick is this. And then this thing, which I'm going to call a connector. And then I got this lick. And then I end with another connector, if we kept going with the solo. Okay, now what's my point? Okay, well, first of all, Hotel California for me is an iconic song. I love to play it. I love to play the solo. I love to play the song. And I have ever since I was a kid, okay? The second part of this, though, is that the solo provides me not just with learning how to play the solo because I like the song. That's awesome enough. But it provides me an opportunity to learn some things within the context of the solo. And let me explain that to you. Because the third thing we're going to talk about is creative extraction. If we were to really look at this and figure out the meaning behind this or the way this actually works, maybe we could use some of these ideas in our own playing. So if we think about it, the very first chord we use in this song is B minor. So this solo is actually taking place in B minor. So if we were to look at the B minor pentatonic scale, it would be sitting right here on 7. Right there. definitely look at what's often referred to as the B.B. King box, which is technically the second position of pentatonic. Now, I'm not going to go through all that right now, but basically what you could do to play the B.B. King box is on these first two strings here, it's going 7, 10. Well, we'd go up here to the 10, 12, and we'd have those 4 notes right there. Okay, and they're still pentatonic. They're these notes, 1 octave higher. Okay, that's what's happening there. All right, so what we're doing in this solo is we're actually going up to that B.B. King box, and that's where the solo is starting. So when he does his slide, right there, he's going from 9 to 11. Well, he's actually playing those 2 notes, but he's sliding to it on the 3rd string instead of playing it on the 2nd string. Okay, then he does this step and a half bend. Well, why does that work? Well, you're actually bending to that note right there. It's the same note. Okay, so needless to say, learning your pentatonic positions would certainly help a little bit with this if you don't know those. But if you do, that's what's happening, is the beginning of the solo is taking place in the 2nd position of minor pentatonic, or the B.B. King box. Then he comes off, and now we're going to go back straight into the minor pentatonic here. But then all of a sudden, this 8 comes up, okay? So what you've got so far is you've got this solo in B minor, in the key of B minor, over the B minor chord. And you understand that if you just started in your first position and you moved up, and you did that, you've got something you could use. Let's say you were going to be in the key of D minor, right? So we find our D minor box. We find this right here. Now, we don't have to play it exactly the same. We can do whatever we want with it, and we'd want to. But the point is all of a sudden you've got this step and a half bend that maybe you hadn't seen before that comes right off of that first position into the B.B. King box, you see? You know, I certainly wouldn't use the entire solo, right? You pick out the best parts, and you use those in your creative extraction, so to speak. Okay? So let's go back to B minor and continue on so you can see this. So I went... and then pentatonic, but right there we head over to the 8. Now we're looking at that going, well, that's not pentatonic, so why is that working? Well, here's why. Here's a really cool thing. The second chord in this chord progression is F sharp major, okay, which is up here. It's sitting right there. Okay, now again, we don't need to get real deep into theory or anything, but if you think about it, if I was to play the note F, I could play this note right here to make that chord major, just like I do on C down here, like this chord. If I just took these 2 notes here, which is what we call the root and the third, the major third. But again, if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. The point is those 2 notes right there make a chord sound major. So I can go anywhere I want. I'm going to head up to F here. Sorry, F sharp. What am I thinking? F sharp. Sorry. Okay? And what I'm doing is going to this note right here, which is the major third. Okay? So what's happening is in the mind of a guitar player when they're writing a song, whether or not they're thinking of this in theory, root, third, fifth, blah, 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 or whether they're just thinking of this in terms of visualization of the fretboard, it's different for everybody, and it is for you and I as well. But the point is before I ever knew any of this, I knew I would go to that 8, but I never knew why. I just knew it sounded cool. But then the problem was when I went to solo on my own and use some of this creative extraction, this note would always sound horrible, right? Well, this is a situational note because if you're not going from B minor to F sharp major, this note probably isn't going to sound very good. But what you could have done in your playing, let's say you were playing some other song that's going, and it's going down to A or something, so you went, you might have just dropped back to this note right here, right? Maybe you go to something else in the pentatonic, just, doing what you normally do. You don't have to feel obligated to use all of the parts of Hotel California, and they all won't work. And that's really important to understand. Everything that you learn isn't going to work. You've got to use creative extraction to be able to pull out the parts that you can use in regular daily situations that you are in. You see, because my biggest problem when I was learning how to play songs is I could learn how to play the songs quite well. but I had no idea how to take that information and use it because I wasn't looking at what key the song was in. I didn't look at what chords the solo was actually trying to represent within the context of the solo. I just moved around and just played, right? And so with these songs, especially iconic guitar solos, there are elements of logic in there where this chord is being played, therefore this lick makes sense with that chord, so we have to be aware of that. So as we're learning the beginning of this solo, this part could be used just fine from B minor to A, or whatever we'd like to do. But this next part, that note, it's going to sound great over that F sharp, but it's not going to sound great over an A. And see, we learn what not to do just as much as we learn what to do. Okay, so hopefully that helps you a little bit in understanding when you approach solos, the first reason you learn how to do a solo or a song or whatever it is you're trying to do is because it's inspiring to you, right? It makes you want to play. And I've been playing for, I don't even know, 30 some years, and I'm still inspired daily to play. And I want you to be able to do the same thing. Okay? Everything doesn't have to be perfect and all those sorts of things. The goal is to look for things that inspire you to play. And when you do play them, you feel good about yourself. You're having fun, right? You're making playlists or, songs you like to do on a daily basis because they help you, which moves into, section number 2 of this, which is ability promotion. It's making you better visually or technically on some level. Something about it is serving a bigger purpose than just learning it. It's making you a better player. And then the final thing, the third thing, is creative extraction. You're actually able to take something, and don't feel bad if you've got a 32 bar solo and you're only taking 2 things out of it or 1 thing out of it. So what? As long as it's something that you can see and go, wow, that's really neat. I didn't realize, because I always just looked at the tab and it was a 17 and a 19, and I never actually equated it to a scale or a key or a chord or something like that. The more you can look deeper into that solo, the more you're going to find gems that you can actually use in your own playing. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Take care. Practice hard. Stay positive with this stuff. It's easy to get frustrated, and we just don't want that. We want you to keep moving forward and doing some really fun and awesome things. So take care, practice hard, and I'll speak to you soon.